There's a lake in northwestern China that never stays the same color twice. One morning turquoise, next a deep, unreadable blue. And locals still swap stories about something living at the bottom of it. There's a stretch of mountains a few provinces over that looks like it was painted, not formed. Red, orange, and yellow bands running in perfectly straight lines across solid rock. There's a forest with no trees in it at all, just thousands of gray stone spires packed so tightly together that walking through it feels like entering a maze built by no one. China covers 9.6 million square kilometers, and most of what's actually out there never makes it onto a travel itinerary. These are 10 of those places, landscapes so specific, so strange, that when photos of them first circulated, the most common reaction wasn't admiration. It was disbelief. People assumed they'd been edited. They hadn't been. 10 places, real coordinates, real geology, real history behind every one of them. Let's start. Pingyao Ancient City. In Shanxi province, there's a city that the modern world was never allowed to finish building. Pingyao's walls, nearly 12 meters tall, built roughly 600 years ago, still surround the entire city, like they did when they were first raised. Inside them, stone-paved streets, wooden shop fronts, courtyard homes that have belonged to the same families for generations. From above, almost the entire skyline is gray tile roofing, barely interrupted by anything built after the walls went up. Pingyao once served as one of China's major financial centers, the birthplace of the country's earliest banking system, centuries before modern banks existed anywhere else in the region. That history is still physically there, preserved, not reconstructed, inside a 600-year-old wall that the city never outgrew. Wetland Park. Hangzhou is one of China's largest and busiest cities, and inside its boundaries, there's a wetland that behaves like it doesn't know that. Xixi Wetland Park is made up of canals, marshes, and small lakes. More than 70% of the entire park is water. Wooden boats are the only practical way to move through large sections of it, gliding between reed beds and traditional houses built in a style that predates the skyline surrounding the park on every side. Researchers studying the park have documented it as home to the richest wetland ecosystem in eastern China. Hundreds of plant and animal species living inside a boundary that a 10-minute drive could take you out of and back into modern Hangzhou completely. No highways cut through it. No towers interrupt the skyline from inside it. Just water and the sound of oars. Huangguoshu Waterfall. Huangguoshu, in Guizhou Province, is China's largest waterfall, roughly 78 meters tall, over 100 meters wide. During the rainy season, its flow can exceed 700 cubic meters of water per second. But the waterfall's most unusual feature isn't the drop. It's what's behind it. A natural cave system sits directly behind the falling water. A passage that lets visitors walk behind the curtain of the waterfall itself, with the entire drop falling in front of them like a moving wall. Inside, mineral deposits have shaped the stalactites into forms that took thousands of years to build. At night, lighting installed along the falls shifts the water's color continuously. Blue, then purple, then red, then yellow, turning the same waterfall into something that looks different every single hour after dark. Qinghai Lake. Qinghai Lake is the largest saltwater lake in China. A body of water so large that on clear days, it functions almost like a mirror, reflecting the sky back at itself with almost no distortion. Grasslands surround nearly the entire lake, and in certain seasons, fields of bright yellow rapeseed flowers border the water's edge. A color contrast that draws photographers from across the country. But the lake's real significance isn't visual. It's ecological. Qinghai Lake serves as a critical stopover point for hundreds of thousands of migratory birds every year. Species traveling vast distances across Asia, using the lake as one of the few reliable water sources along their route. For weeks at a time, the shoreline is covered in birds, their calls audible long before the lake itself comes into view. Yellow River, Grand Canyon. On China's Loess Plateau, the Yellow River has spent millions of years cutting directly into the earth, carving a canyon that most people, even inside China, don't know exists. From above, the river winds through nearly perfect curves, wrapping around towering rock formations, in places turning almost a full 180 degrees within a few kilometers. Steep, reddish-brown cliffs rise on both sides, exposing rock layers that formed over millions of years, each one a visible record of a different period in the region's geological history. The Yellow River is often described as the cradle of Chinese civilization, the water source that allowed early agricultural settlements to survive in this region at all. Here, far from any city, it's still doing exactly what it's always done, reshaping the ground beneath it, one flood season at a time. Arxan Stone Forest. In the grasslands of Inner Mongolia, hundreds of massive stone pillars rise directly out of flat ground, with nothing around them to suggest how they got there. These granite formations were created during the Ice Age and have spent millions of years since being shaped by weathering into an enormous range of forms, some resembling fortress walls, others resembling human figures standing in the grass. The tallest pillar reaches roughly 40 meters. Up close, many of them look as though they were built from smaller stone slabs stacked deliberately on top of each other, though nothing here was placed by human hands. The site sits inside a UNESCO-listed geopark, recognized as one of the rarest and most scientifically valuable granite stone forests anywhere on Earth, made stranger still by the fact that lush green plants grow directly around the base of the stone, instead of the barren ground you'd expect to find surrounding it. Shilin Stone Forest. In Yunnan province, there's a forest with no tree trunks, no leafy canopy, nothing that resembles a forest in the way that word usually means. Instead, thousands of gray limestone pillars rise straight into the sky, some sharp as blades, others split into jagged ridges, some reaching nearly 30 meters in height. Almost no one realizes that 270 million years ago, this entire area sat beneath an ancient sea. As the land slowly rose, rain and wind wore away at the limestone for millions of years, leaving behind exactly what stands here today. Narrow paths wind between the massive pillars, every turn revealing a completely different view, as though the landscape was designed specifically to disorient anyone walking through it. And in the gaps between the cold gray stone, trees still grow, green pushing directly through what used to be the floor of an ocean. Tianchi Heaven Lake, nearly 7,000 feet above sea level, inside the crater of an ancient volcano, sits a lake called Tianchi Heaven Lake. 16 towering peaks surround it completely, forming a natural stone basin around water so deep blue it looks almost artificial. For most of the year, cloud and mist cover the entire area, meaning the lake itself is only fully visible for brief windows of clear weather, a fact that has made it one of the least photographed major lakes in the country, despite its scale. The water shifts color with the light. Turquoise in 1 hour, deep blue the next. In winter, the entire lake freezes beneath a covering of snow. For generations, local accounts have described something unusual moving beneath the surface. Stories that persist, not because anyone can confirm them, but because the lake is deep enough and isolated enough that no one has ever been able to rule them out either. Kanas Lake. Hidden in the Altai Mountains of Xinjiang, Kanas Lake does something most lakes don't. It changes color, not seasonally, but sometimes within the same day. Depending on the angle of the sunlight, the water can appear emerald green, turquoise, or a deep blue that mirrors the sky above it almost exactly. Researchers attribute the shift to the lake's mineral content and depth, both of which affect how light is absorbed and reflected at different points across the surface. Every morning, a thin layer of mist settles over the water before the sun burns it off and the color resets for the day. Siberian pine, fir, and birch forests surround the entire lake, turning gold in autumn and disappearing under snow for months each winter, when the lake itself nearly freezes solid. Local accounts describe something large living beneath the surface, sightings that have never been verified, but that have also never fully gone away. Zhangye Danxia landform. In Gansu province, there's a range of mountains that shouldn't, by any normal expectation, look the way they look. Sandstone hills rise in horizontal bands of red, orange, yellow, and green, running across cliffs and ridges for kilometers in lines so clean they look painted. They are not painted. They're stone, layered sedimentary rock, deposited gradually over approximately 24 million years, each colored band representing a different mineral composition laid down during a different period of the region's geological history. Iron oxide produces the reds and oranges. Sulfide minerals produce the yellows. Iron-magnesium silicates produce the greens. Geologists understand why the colors exist. What's harder to explain is how precisely they line up, matching layer for layer across ridges separated by kilometers, with almost no geological interruption anywhere along the range. In late afternoon light, the effect intensifies. The mountains appear to shift color as the sun drops lower, every band deepening at a slightly different rate. No two visits look quite the same, and no photograph, no matter how good, fully captures standing in front of 24 million years laid out in visible, horizontal lines. 10 places. A walled city that never let the modern skyline in. A wetland hiding inside one of the country's busiest cities. A waterfall with a hidden cave behind it that changes color after dark. A saltwater lake that hosts hundreds of thousands of migrating birds every year. A canyon cut by the river that built an entire civilization. A stone forest the Ice Age left standing in open grassland. A limestone maze that used to be ocean floor. A crater lake ringed by 16 peaks. A lake that changes color depending on the hour. And mountains striped in colors that took 24 million years to line up exactly the way they do. China isn't running out of places like this. Most of them just never make it past the provinces they're in.